Hey everyone, it's Rob, the Generation X Gamer, and I'm here with my review of the Rogue One Scarif DLC. The Rogue One Scarif DLC was released on December 6th to Season Pass holders and owners of the new Ultimate Edition, and will be released to everyone else on December 20th. So let's start with the new mode, Infiltration. Infiltration is a new multi-stage mode that has 32 players and has 3 modes, 1 flying mode and 2 infantry modes. In the first mode, rebels must get to Scarif's surface by flying through the shield gate with U-Wings. Players are randomly selected to pilot the U-Wings, and those who are not fly in X-Wings. TIE fighters must prevent the U-Wings from penetrating the shield, and X-Wing pilots must protect the U-Wings from being destroyed by the TIE fighters. Now there's debris in space above the planet to provide cover, along with the Star Destroyers. Unfortunately for us, Star Destroyers do not fire at you while you are flying. And if the rebels are successful in getting through the shield gate, in the second phase they must create a diversion by blowing up one of 2 cargo ships on the surface. This mode is similar to Sabotage, where rebels have to approach the ships, arm the explosives, and prevent the Empire from disabling the charge. Now as the Empire, you must prevent the rebels from arming the explosive and blowing up either ship. It's in this phase where the Empire gets the one hero, and that is Orson Krennic, and you cannot select any other villain. This phase is very fast-paced, and usually there is one ship that is armed, and when the Empire disarms it, the other one usually becomes armed, so there's great back and forth. The bushes provide excellent coverage for both sides, and can be great for guerrilla tactics. Now, if the rebels are successful, you move on to the last stage, where you have to escape with the data tapes to the extraction point before time runs out. And this mode is very similar to how cargo works, but better. Now, how this works is that there are 3 data tapes, and players can pick them up and must deliver them to the extraction point at the other end of the map. If you're carrying a tape and are killed by a stormtrooper, the data tape is dropped, and the stormtroopers then must protect the tape from being picked up by other rebel soldiers. If the rebel soldiers do not pick up the tape or tapes in time, the tape will respawn back at the beginning of the map, and the rebels must retreat to retrieve the tape or tapes. Rebels can pick up the hero icon and play only as Jyn Erso. Now, she provides great support to the rebels and is fairly strong and balances the mode really well. This mode is extremely fast-paced and a total blast to play. I mean, I have so much fun due to how intense it is while you're trying to deliver the tapes before the timer runs out. Now, I know I said this before, but it's like cargo on steroids. You have 3 carriers, 32 players, and it's fast-paced. It reminds me of Drop Zone and Bespin, where you're just running all over the place. Add in that stormtroopers have to protect the drop data tapes, and you will wish this mode is playable just on its own. Now, how I feel about Infiltration is that this is what Battle Station should have been, with only 1 flying mode and 2 infantry modes. Now, DICE has learned a lot from Battle Station and delivered a pure winner in Infiltration. I cannot say this enough. This mode is absolute pure fun, and I really love playing it even with my disdain for flying. It's second on my list for DLC modes next to Extraction. Now, even though this mode is really fun, it does have some annoying drawbacks. The first is that the first mode is easy for the rebels, similar to the first mode in Battle Station. I understand why, because everybody wants to get into the infantry mode, but I've had games where the mode is over really quickly. I just wish it would be just a little bit tougher, just to add a little bit more, just to make it a little more engaging. Now, the infantry modes, the bushes can be so frustrating, where you think you can walk through them, but it's more like hitting into a wall, and where you can assume you can walk through them, or sometimes you have to jump over the bushes. It just doesn't make sense. And the other annoying part is that you can literally get stuck where you cannot roll out of the bush, leaving you only to wait to be killed, or you have to jump back out of it. Now, if you're lucky enough to pick up the hero icon as the Empire, you'll have a lot of fun playing as Krennic. But if you're still alive as him when the second stage ends, you can no longer play as him. Now, does that seem fair to you? To me, it doesn't. You'll do all this hard work, staying alive, getting a lot of kills as Krennic, mode ends, and then boom, you go into the next stage, and you're an infantry soldier. How I feel is that you should be able to play as Krennic even if you move on to the next mode. Now, in the games I've played, I have not seen Jyn in the second stage, but some have said that she is available. So then you have to wonder, is that the same hold true for Jyn? So there's no hero in the third mode at all? So, if DICE can tweak this behavior, it would be so much better for playing as either hero if you're able to get them in the second stage. Now, the last little annoying thing about Infiltration is that if you use your jump pack while carrying the tape, you instantly drop it. I mean, there isn't a warning in the game at all. You just find out on your own. Plus, if you try to pick up a drop tape, I mean, it is one of the hardest things to do. You literally have to look down at it and then crouch in order to pick it up. So it can be very frustrating trying to pick up a tape. Meanwhile, you have stormtroopers coming right at you, and you're trying to pick it up in a frantic pace, and sometimes you'll end up getting killed, or if you're lucky enough to pick up the tapes, you have to try to outrun them because you can't jump back out of there. Infiltration, playing as either Jyn Erso and Orson Krennic, in my opinion, is really, really fun. Using the A180, Jyn is very adept, and using the Truncheon Surge is really cool to see. Now, she's more of a support character, and at times, I'm not saying all the time, but at times, she may not feel as strong as other heroes, but if you charge up her Truncheon Charge, she can really kick ass with the Truncheon Surge. Now, Krennic, on the other hand, is very powerful. If you plant the droid next to an objective, you can lock it down fairly well. You just have to hope that none of the rebels are packing a scattergun. Now, his Armor Breaker is extremely powerful, where you can one-shot kill infantry and dealing a fair amount of damage to heroes and infantry with armor. And his DT-29 is more powerful than the standard one. Now, his Wrath of the Empire provides an armor boost for all stormtroopers and heroes around him. But if you're a stormtrooper, you have to remember, your health will gradually decrease automatically until you reach 50 health points, and you cannot be healed until you reach 50. Now let's talk about the 2 new weapons and the 1 new star card included with the DLC. The first weapon is the A180 blaster pistol. As most of you know, A180 has 3 modes in addition to being a blaster pistol. It has a sniper mode, blaster rifle mode, and an ion launcher where you add on to the blaster to make these modes equipped. Now, if you equip the A180, you lose your star card hand, which will be replaced by the 3 modes. Now, the A180, as weapons designer Christian Johansson says, the Swiss Army knife, it really is fun to use. I like to be able to snipe and change to a blaster rifle, then get really up close and use it as a pistol. Now, up close, it's fairly strong. It's not the strongest weapon. I mean, the SE-14C and the EE-4 are better at close range, but it really does fare quite well. Now, even though you do lose your star card hand, I gotta say to DICE, great job with this weapon. I really give it a thumbs up. Now, the second weapon is the DT-29 blaster. Now, what's unique about the DT-29 is that it doesn't overheat, but rather needs to be reloaded. When using it, the animation is similar to that of a 6-shooter, but you have to be careful though, because when the weapon reloads, you are vulnerable. However, if you pair it with a cooling cell, you'll have infinite ammo. And it's a really good blaster and powerful at close range, and is perfect to use on Scarif. Guys, I definitely recommend it. Now, the new star card is the Sonic Imploder, which is a hybrid grenade that deals damage to enemies and blinds those that are looking at it. Now, unfortunately, the thing about it is it's just really weak, and the best part about it is just the animation. It's really hard to get kills with it. I mean, and the flash grenade is stronger at blinding enemies. So, if you're on the fence or thinking about getting it, my advice is just save your credits, skip it, because you're really not missing anything with it. We do have 2 new pickups while playing in the infantry modes and infiltration. The first is the TIE Striker, where it will do strafing runs on nearby rebels. And the second pickup is the U-Wing, where you will fly in a U-Wing manning a turret on the side. You're in the U-Wing for about 60 seconds. You can get a good amount of kills if you fire on the objectives. You can also deploy shields and a radar jammer while you're in it. Now, just as with the AT-AT, once the timer runs out, you return to the battlefront. Now I want to talk about the maps. The maps in this mode are just absolutely gorgeous, some of the best in the entire game. The level artists really showed their talents when making your way through the maps, and trust me, you will not be disappointed. I know some of you probably have seen already videos on YouTube. Seeing them on YouTube is one thing, but playing in the mode is absolutely different. You will not be disappointed. Alright, now let's talk about modes. Now, included with the DLC, we have 4 other modes in addition to infiltration. We have Walker Assault, Turning Point, Blast, and Fire Squadron. Now, Walker Assault's a bit different because there's only 2 sets of uplinks, and we're not fighting against AT-ACTs, just AT-ATs. Now, the explanation from DICE was that the AT-ACTs were 40% larger than AT-ATs, and they did not have time to create them with the detail they did with the AT-ATs. Now, with Walker Assault only having 2 uplinks, the game goes faster than normal, which really does take some time to get used to. Now, there's a lot of talk out on Reddit and out on the web with people saying that, DICE could have done this, but there was a quick turnaround between the Death Star and Scarif, and I don't fault the developers at all. And I think they just did a fine job. It was okay whether or not we had AT-ATs or AT-ACTs. Now, we know that Uninspired Zebra went out there recently and put out video clips of him putting ATs next to ATs. But if you look closely, they're not really that crisp, so you can see the DICE didn't have the time to really refine these. But like I said, either way, I'm fine with it. But I've included it in the description, the link to Uninspired Zebra's video, just where you can see what they look like. Now, I know I'm sounding like a broken record. I could definitely deal without Fighter Squadron. But what I like in this is that the rotation of the modes is that we play on each side in both modes and then go either back to infiltration or go to another mode if we're coming from infiltration. Now, I've read that other players are complaining that they wanted more modes, but think about it. Infiltration has 3 modes. So we're getting more than 5, and especially we have one that's already similar to cargo. And even though we do have a Fighter Squadron type mode infiltration, there are still enough modes in this DLC that make me happy. In addition to the DLC, we got the long-awaited patch to the game to fix all the problems that were plaguing it since the Death Star DLC. Now, the best parts of the patch were that we received cargo and droid run with the Death Star, which means I will gladly venture back into it regardless of the flying. And we can now heal heroes with back-to-bombs and give them a health boost. And the vanilla heroes now have traits, and I've included a link to wrap up their traits in the description. In addition, AI bots in Fire Squadron have finally been nerfed, and Chewie got a nice buff. Now, do you remember when DICE told us before the DLC that the multiple hero glitch and Walker Assault Supremacy and Hero Hunt was fixed? Haha. No, it wasn't. It was even proven on the first day that the DLC was released that the glitch still does exist, which is just so frustrating. Now, the thing I was hoping wouldn't happen would be the introduction of new glitches in the game, which unfortunately did. Lando now has infinite power blasts, and you can do this by toggling the feature on and off, so much so that he can take out AT-ATs on his own. And I've included a video of that in the description. Now, within hours of players finding this glitch, DICE hero developer Guillaume Moraz said they will be able to fix Lando with a server patch. To date, the patch has not been applied, but hopefully it will be coming soon. Now remember, with the DLC, Lando was supposed to get his power blast nerfed, so instead of a nerf, we actually got an even worse case. Players have also said that they can spawn in with their star card hand while having the A180 equipped. And then also, in Extraction, you can dynamically be changed back to an infantry soldier when playing as a hero, but still have the hero's abilities. And then lastly, there's actually a glitch where you can fly out of the playable area in the first mode of infiltration with the U-Wings and just go completely to the shield gate, ending that mode in the snap of a finger. Now, these are just a few of the new problems, and thankfully we didn't get as much as we did with the Death Star. But why does it still feel as if like we are DICE's QA team here? So the question now is, should you get the DLC? I highly recommend it, and I am telling you now, you will not be disappointed. Infiltration, just on its own, is very fun, and you'll have fun in the other modes as well. Also, playing as Krennic is unlike any other of the heroes in the game, and you'll notice this because he gets chosen in Heroes vs. Villains so quickly because everybody wants to play as him because it's that much fun. And I really like the way that they've rotated the maps in other game modes. You know, I said that earlier, but I just want to highlight that again. It's just, I really love how the DLC plays out. You just the way you go from one mode to the other, it's a nice change. You're not just going quickly one mode. You play both sides and then you go to the next. Just perfect. And being that this is the last DLC for the game, I have to say that DICE has done an incredible job with the game as a whole, in spite of its flaws and the glitches. So please don't take the glitches as a reason to stay away from the game, because even though they are annoying, the game is still a lot of fun. You get 4 DLCs which have a lot of modes in them, lots of maps. There's infinite playing here. We just have to hope that the servers won't go down and the player base will become so bad that it's not playable anymore. So what's your thought on Scarif? Do you think the DLC is really good? Do you like the new weapons and the new maps? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel for more Star Wars Battlefront and gaming news. Generation X Gamer, out.